Welcome to another episode of Roll or Die. We have been around Australia for the last few episodes, and today we are back in Melbourne. We are bringing to you by way of Rio de Janeiro in Brazil, fourth degree black belt and head coach at, what's the name of your club again, Minol?
Equipe Mestre Wilson Jiu-Jitsu Austrália.
That's it. Mr. Minol Tavares Tutida. Thank you for joining us.
Awesome. Now, first of all,
Thanks for having me, guys.
Awesome. First of all, man, you look like you could be my grandchild. How do you get to be nearly a fifth degree black belt and look as young as you do, man? What's your secret?
I don't know. Just no stress.
Okay, that's definitely the
Say that you've got 4 kids, Minol. 4 kids, and you're a coach at a jiu-jitsu academy. That's still a lot of stress in your life, or no? You don't let
it's
that
a lot.
stress you?
Yeah, I lived out a lot to Esther as well.
Yeah.
Cool.
Now, we've had your lovely wife on, Esther, a couple of years ago. She is, I guess, the second Australian female black belt, but many people think she is kind of the first because she was the first one to receive it on Australian soil, whereas Sophia McDermott received hers while she was overseas. So obviously we want to share your story and talk about you as well, but can you tell us a little bit about that? Because that must have been fairly exciting. I assume it was yourself that helped to grade her to black?
Yeah, Esther, she came to visit me in Japan when she was a blue belt still. And in Japan, I graded her to purple belt, knowing that even if she comes back to Australia, there will still be a purple belt to compete. Because, as you know, Kim, back in the day, there was no girls, many girls in the competition scenario. So purple belt will be still, there will be still some girls. And then we went to Rio for holiday stay for like three months. And there was a Rio State title event, and we both entered. And Esther won the final with the as a purple belt. Then Master Wilson decides to grade her on the podium. So I'm like, no, it's all good. Like they calling her for the medal, and then he's like, no, take the belt. Like give the belt on the podium. But no, it's all good. No, give it on the podium. I go, okay. Then I had to grade her on the podium. Yeah, we got a picture. Like she's wearing the brown belt, and it was actually like I had another student there with me at the time, Phil, who is my representative in Townsville. We just graded him brown belt. Master Wilson made him take his brown belt off, gave it to me, like threw it to me while I was running to the podium to take the picture, like Esther get in the middle. And then I had to grade her, like get Phil's brown belt and grade her brown belt on the podium.
Wow. That is a spontaneous.
Black belt, Minol. What about when she got black?
And then black belt was pretty much the same thing. We were in Brazil, and it was a grading that I think was one of the first night that we went to training. And Master Wilson was there with there was some students visiting from America at the time. And there was a grading a place, and he took someone, he was gonna grade someone to black belt, and he took that black belt of someone and surprised graded Esther in the black belt, and be like, no, we're gonna grade her to black belt because she's a black belt, after we had I think it was the first week we had I think trained there, but I had a few other students from back then. We were living in Tasmania, so we had like a BJJ camp in Brazil. All the guys from America were visiting, and then we were visiting with a couple of students as well. And then he decided to surprise grade Esther as a black belt then.
Yeah. Wow, that's pretty special. Yeah, like she was, as I said, I mean, I know Sophia came before her, but theoretically she's the one who's done it mostly just here in Australia.
We train all the time here, only the times that we went to Brazil on holidays, and we try to stay for 3 months. Try to stay as long as we can, and do our training and everything. So yeah,
Yeah.
about most of the training, everything is done here. Yeah,
Fantastic.
Awesome.
pretty good. Like it's even good that she was a purple belt and we went to Rio and she won the Rio state title there as a purple belt. So it just showed the level,
Yeah.
it's not like, oh, okay, so we're in the good level here.
Yeah, that's right.
Brilliant. Well, I guess changing direction a little, like you were talking before while we were waiting for Kim MP about the
Kim was running Brazilian time.
Kim was
I
running
was.
the picture on the wall behind you is amazing, man. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
And you were talking about where you have a family house somewhere on that map. Can
Yeah, so there's a few rocks there. Rio is like pretty much the only city in the world that has beach and the floor. We've got a forest in the middle of the city.
Amazing.
And it's about this rock. It's called the Elephant Rock. So after this point behind there, it's where like all the good beaches are, like a beautiful, blue crystal water, white sand. And as I was saying, like in Victoria, once you pass once you go Mornington Peninsula, you start getting all the clean water.
Yeah.
It's just like that. But that's what like usually the tourists don't see.
Wow.
It's usually like everyone goes, Copacabana, like it's just because like so famous, But
they get the dirty water
there's a lot of other
because of the tourist destinations. And you guys get the locals get the good stuff. I see.
Yeah, and I was just saying like because you guys had Ivan, and Ivan is from Niterói. Niterói is on the other side as well, so he's on the other side of Rio as well.
He's on the good blue water side.
Yeah, so that's where my parents, they have the beach house, like on that. We gotta drive Niterói to get to our beach house.
Okay. And how long did it take to get there?
Actually about 40, just less than an hour, I think.
Okay, great. Very reasonable, man, for beautiful beaches, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So, Minol, tell us about your growing up, your beginnings, and how you discovered jiu-jitsu, because it sounds like you've traveled quite a bit. So you came here, but you've also been in Japan, and how did that go?
Yeah, I'll first of all, I apologize. My voice will be husky today because I'll explain later. I had a big weekend in Canberra yelling at a MMA show. I was born in Rio. My dad's family is from Japan. My dad's parents are Japanese. My dad was born in Brazil, and my mom is full Brazilian. I'm half Japanese, half Brazilian, half Brazilian waist below, half Japanese waist above. So when I was 10, 11, we moved to Japan because we were working. And I actually got, back then, like I was 15, I got in trouble at school. I got suspended for 2 weeks, got in trouble. And my parents didn't like it. And they made me.
What did you do?
I had a fight. I had a fight with a kid. Yeah, I had a fight with a kid, and then they suspended me because he didn't end up well. But I wasn't training then. So then I knew jiu-jitsu was was popular because I watched the UFC tape. It was tape, Royce Gracie, and then I thought, this must be really good. Then I was working at a Brazilian shop in Japan, and I used to wear like these jiu-jitsu tops. And a guy came in, started asking if I train, and I like, no, but I would love to. And then a few weeks later, he came in and said he found a guy that was teaching, and that was my first instructor, Rocha, who used to travel like a whole hour on the train to come and teach jiu-jitsu. It was like the very first jiu-jitsu academy in that town. And I started training there when I was 15. And and I stuck around since, and I got graded like. And Rocha was a student from Master Wilson, he was living in Japan then as well. So I got graded blue, all the way blue to purple from Rocha, and my brown belt I actually got from Grandmaster Fada himself. And my black belt, I got it in Brazil under Master Wilson and Rocha together.
Wow.
Wow.
I was,
So-
but I started was 1995 to 6. Got my brown belt. Yeah, brown belt with father 15th of June 2002, and my black belt 12th of August 2004.
Mm.
Wow. So you've been a black belt for nearly 20 years already.
Yeah, 5th degree this
Wow.
year. Yeah.
Wow.
That's amazing. Do you think that, like, because there's some people that, like maybe some of your students who you've been a black belt longer than they've been alive? That's amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
some of my students I've been black belt.
Yeah.
Sometimes people ask me like, how long you been training? And I count like from black belt, and it's like 19 years.
Yeah. And so what brought you to Australia? How did you get here?
I was living in Japan then. I actually met a girl in Australia from Tasmania, and we moved to Tasmania. And then it didn't work out between us. And then, but I started the club already. And Esther's brother was one of my first students.
Mm.
And yeah, he started training. Esther started training. We started dating. And I went back to Japan. I went back to Japan for 2 years back in 2005,
Mhm.
and I did some MMA fights in
Yeah.
Japan, and
Mm.
then that's why Esther came to visit. So she
Yeah.
saw one of my fights, and then she came back to Australia, I came back, and then that's when we got married.
Awesome.
What a beautiful
Fantastic.
story, man. I love jiu-jitsu love. Actually,
Yeah,
let's
it's a
ask
long
that question.
story.
Yeah, I do. Like jiu-jitsu relationships is something which I kind of like. I never seem to end up in them,
Mm.
but the thing is, like, they in theory they sound amazing, you know. But you know, like, what is your experience of being in a jiu-jitsu relationship?
Man, it's good and bad because we both like jiu-jitsu, you know.
Yeah.
So like I go to training, like I have to be there to teach the classes.
Mm-hmm.
But the downside, like Esther then have to come home and do everything else. So she loses training time a lot.
I
So
see.
I try to between 1 hour that we have between the kids class and the adult class, I try to roll with her as much as I can, and
Mm-hmm.
like make her tired,
Yeah.
like both. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the thing, because we both want to train, it's you both want to be involved, and sometimes we both can be there. So that's the
Mm.
hard thing.
Yeah.
But the good thing, we both like jiu-jitsu, so that's the good and the bad thing.
And what
Awesome.
about with your kids as well, Minol? Because you've got 4 kids. Are they doing jiu-jitsu, or what's happening with that?
Yeah, they have to. They have to.
Yeah. Yeah. I think
Yeah.
Esther said that actually. Esther said that. I'm just thinking back, but she was like, it's mandatory in our family.
Yeah, I used to I joke with my son. I go, look, get your black belt. Just get your black belt, and then that's it. If you wanna,
No
if you
big
wanna
deal.
quit,
That's
then
easy,
yeah.
easy.
If
Then
you
we
wanna
can talk
quit,
about
then you quit after the black.
But that's smart actually, because you don't usually quit by the black belt. You're going to quit at blue belt. Yeah, that's
Yeah, yeah. I feel like also like when he kind of distanced a little bit. Like I just put a little bit pressure on him, but when he competed a couple of times, he did well. Some of them he lost, but I feel like he'll lose. I had some gift or some toy or something that I will give him,
Oh.
and when he won, I didn't give him anything. So
yeah,
the gold medal is everything, like
Mm.
that's the reward. But if you lose here, well done.
Wow.
yeah. I think that Hicks and Gracie told that story. Yeah, in Breathe. That's the
Mm.
Same thing,
same
yeah,
principle. Yeah.
because otherwise if you lose, then you'll be like, competition sucks,
Yeah,
and
but you know,
you don't have a good experience.
yeah, what I just discovered for myself, Kim, though, in what Minol was saying, which I didn't pick up in the book, was that the gold medal is the reward. It's like you get a reward either way. You know, you're going to get the medal as a reward, but you're going to get something else as the reward. So the kid's going to feel
Yeah, it's the
rewarded.
lesson of it's the same lesson. You never lose, right? You always learn.
Mm.
It's the same thing.
Yeah, I love that. I really do. Awesome. Wow. And with the MMA career, like how did that, like, where were you in your jiu-jitsu journey? Were you a black belt already? I think you were.
I was a black belt. My MMA career started as a funny story as well. I I was a black belt. I was training for a competition, like for a jiu-jitsu comp. And I had a friend in Japan. He was a purple belt guy, and he was like pretty good purple belt, solid guy. And Pride back then used to do these events that they call it. It was Future King or something, but they had like the Pride, and they had the Pride one, amateur Pride one, which it had like a headgear and shin guard. And all it is, like, you paid say $30 to enter, just to cover like an insurance so they don't get sued or anything if you get hurt. And but everyone is there, the Pride ref, the Pride boss, like all the Pride organization is there, because all it is, they try to search people to fight.
Talent
So
scout.
like this guy, like, who like, he heard about it and go, man, let's go. And I go, nah, man, I don't even train anything. Like, you go, man, you use headgear, you got shin guards, you're not gonna get hurt, like, you just take them. And so like I went for a laugh, like, he goes,
Yeah.
man, no, yeah, it's all good. Like, we'll go for one and that's it. So I went for one
Wow.
and I did pretty well. So the Pride boss goes to one of our Japanese friend that was acting out like a manager, and say, hey, see if the guy wants to fight on the other show. And then he came to me and goes, can you fight on the other show? And I'm like, nah, I just came in for a laugh, like,
Yeah.
I wasn't planning on studying MMA career. And then my Japanese friend goes, man, you don't understand. Like, you had this other good kid that was doing these events for a whole year until he got picked. He came in on the first day, he got picked. Like, you have to do it. Like, you can't say no. I'm like, oh, okay, well. And then they go, but I had to lose 3 kilos to compete at this Pride one, right? The amateur one, to make the weight, 73 kilos weight. And then he goes, there's only one thing, the division is 70 kilos. So I had to drop another 3 kilos to fight on and 3 fights in one night is a tournament, because he was the future king. So it's 3 fights in one night. So yeah, I went, I won all I went to the final. And guess what? The guy on the other side was American, already pro, like, shooter champion. Yeah, and then
Oh, wow.
we made in the final, like,
Jeez.
I
And
kind
how
of
did you
caught
go?
the bashing, but yeah, and then he ended up, I was turtle because of the glove. I had his toe. I was trying to do a toe hold, but he kept like hurting the top of my head, and I was trying to clear the glove, and then the ref started counting, and then they stopped straight away. Like, I even be like, oh, why, But yeah, then I lost the final. But then I done like some other like pro fights after that. Yeah.
And do you recommend it as a pathway? Like, what do you think about MMA? Like, obviously, you're in the martial arts. You're immersed in the martial arts community. Is MMA something you advise students to like explore? What's your views?
I don't have a MMA class. Like, I encourage this to someone who want to have actually step on the ring, or in the cage, and want to have a fight. I'll train them, but I won't run an MMA class because I think it's so hard to run an MMA class. It's the same as like a school subject. You go to school, you don't learn math. Like, these other subjects in one class. They have separate classes for it.
Yeah.
And then so that's kind of MMA. You have to kind of do separate things, and they mix it up. So it's really hard to do an MMA class.
Yeah. And so, was it one of your students that you lost your voice for over the weekend, or?
Yeah. So I have a couple of affiliated clubs. One in Canberra, they do some MMA shows there, and I had one of the guy, Luke. He the young kid, I think it's 22 or 3. And we were competing for the state title, and I was against a guy from Sydney, It was a big thing because this guy came in 3.5 kilos over, and we decided to go ahead and still fight, and we fought, and Luke finished in 38 seconds with like a triangle armbar
Nice.
thing. So I was yelling a lot, like cheering.
You were yelling a lot for 38 seconds.
But now, but I had this other guy fighting the first fight. He went like all three. He lost by decision, Jake. He
Okay.
fought well, but like he lost, like it was all 3 rounds. So I was like all 3 rounds yelling at him.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, all night, like just yelling.
Cool. Yeah, I've got earlier in this interview, right? I laughed when you said you were wearing a jiu-jitsu t-shirt, but you didn't train, right? And then the reason why I
Yeah.
laugh is because, first of all, like I love jiu-jitsu. Like I will live and die by this sport, right? And art. But I can't imagine anywhere in the world like jiu-jitsu is not like it's a relative, unless you're educated in jiu-jitsu, it's kind of like an unwatchable sport. People don't know what it is, they
Yeah.
don't know what it's about. So I just found it really, like, I can imagine kids who don't play basketball wearing like NBA t-shirts like that.
Yeah. No, but because of like where I was in Japan, it was the biggest Brazilian community in Japan.
Oh,
And jiu-jitsu then was getting pretty popular in Brazil. It was
Mm.
even this like popular, kind of thing,
like the Gracie
shows,
dojo
like
storming.
there was a dojo and there was a jiu-jitsu class thing, and
Mm.
it was getting pretty popular
I
thing.
see.
So kids wouldn't know like if you're wearing jiu-jitsu.
So then, if you wear a t-shirt and you don't train, doesn't that invite someone to test your
Yeah.
skills?
No.
No. Okay, cool.
So like some brands in Brazil started making like jiu-jitsu t-shirts.
Yeah.
You could like buy at the shop, like
Yeah.
yeah.
Did they get it
There you
wrong? I wonder if they got it wrong. Did they actually understand? Like, was it a jiu-jitsu t-shirt with people throwing punches and stuff, or was it like?
No, it was like like a normal jiu-jitsu.
Okay.
Some of them have like phrases, like some of them have phrases.
Cool, man. Awesome. Awesome.
And Minol, you the president of the SJAA in Australia, is that right?
Yes,
The Sports Jiu-Jitsu
I am,
Association.
but I'm moving away from like I have no time at the moment to run it. I haven't done like, especially after COVID hit, it was so hard to start moving, doing comps and everything.
Can you tell us about that association? Because I'm not sure many of our listeners know.
So the SJJIF in America, they call the Sports Jiu-Jitsu International Federation. And their goal is to try to take jiu-jitsu to the Olympics.
Wow.
They already done some part of I think part of some Olympic committee. They took jiu-jitsu to the Olympic for the deaf Olympics. They part of that, and they're actually the first federation to do a jiu-jitsu. What do you call para jiu-jitsu something category? Yeah, they were the very first one to do one in Brazil, but then after that, like Abu Dhabi, they did one, and that's the one that everyone saw it. But they were actually the first one to do it, and they world championships are like 3,000 athletes over. The event, they pretty big event, and they were giving like a cash prize. That's not like when Keenan for, I don't know if you guys watch Keenan for Ebert. Have you watched that fight? Actually like a video of that fight. I filmed it from the side. Yeah, and Keenan reposted it, and then he put his watermark and everyone started reposting.
Sounds like Keenan.
But
ever the businessman.
Yeah, and Ben was there as well. Ben Hodgkinson.
Oh, Ben.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Because when I was running the federation here, I run an event in Canberra, and I said I'll give a ticket to like the brown belt division to go to America and fight at these wars, and there was one of them that Ben came and competed, and we paid for his ticket to go and compete.
Wow.
Yeah.
So what does that mean? Like if you could get jiu-jitsu to the like, is that its main purpose? Get jiu-jitsu to the Olympics? Is that what the SJJ
Yeah,
is about?
yeah. That's what the goal is. Yeah.
And how close are we to that? Is it a possibility?
Man, they already in the deaf Olympics. So
Yeah.
like, and they participate in a lot of like Olympic, related committees, and like they always go to there's some
Okay.
like Olympic meetings somewhere in Munich or some
Yeah.
other country. Yeah,
And so would we be kicking judo out and we come in, or is it
well,
like,
I don't know. Well, I think it would be hard because now that they put in judo, it should be like a totally different martial art,
yeah,
but
yeah, but
I
there's a
don't know
lot.
how they,
There are similarities, right? I mean, like I would say
yeah.
BJJ is an extension of judo. Like obviously BJJ should do more takedowns, but to merge them both and create one, like high level, like BJJ judo and black belts, like people with double belts should come together and compete in the Olympics. That would be a match.
Yeah,
I would like
yeah.
that. I'd pay for that.
Yeah, or I don't know if they gonna mix it up some
Yeah.
whatever, judo, jiu-jitsu, and make it a mixed thing. I don't know. I have no idea how they'll do it.
Okay.
But
Okay.
that's their main goal, to
Yeah.
try to take it to the Olympics.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
And
And
I mean,
we competed at the awards in 2017. I won the awards, the Master Division 2017.
you won the
Um,
World Masters 2017.
yeah,
Amazing, man.
in
Wow.
LA, yeah.
and so what's next for you, Minol? Are you competing in the future, or are you just coaching for now? What's your future
For
look
now, yeah, I've been concentrating more on my students. Like I'll do some comps. At the moment, I got a few injuries here and there that I'm looking after. But I'm concentrating more on my students at the moment. Like whoever wants to compete, because as you know, if you want to compete, you gotta be a little bit more selfish.
Yeah.
eh, and do your own training. Like Anton, you're teaching now, huh?
Badly, but yes, I'm teaching a
How is
community
that
class,
going?
man. I'm learning to teach, and I feel like I'm
Yeah,
improving every day.
it,
But I'm a white belt in
yeah.
teaching jiu-jitsu. You know,
But it's funny because teaching makes you better, because
100%,
you have to learn
100%.
you have to
Yeah.
learn and know what you're teaching.
Yeah, I
So
feel like I have a responsibility now. You know what I mean? To
yeah,
improve my jiu-jitsu and not pass on crappy jiu-jitsu to these people. But I was thinking you're
yeah,
going to get injuries from yelling at your yelling for your students. Like you're getting a new kind of injury now, and I'm going to have
yeah.
like
Losing my voice now. Yeah,
yeah, like there needs to be training for jiu-jitsu coaches on how to not hurt themselves supporting their students. Because I know just from even coaching
yeah.
basketball, like it's a nightmare.
Now
I can't speak for 2
I'm
days.
gonna buy a megaphone. This is
Yeah.
gonna come in with a megaphone.
then someone else has another
Bust
megaphone.
the guy,
Remember when Tiago used to come and
He knows
Tiago,
the voice every time.
yeah, and you would hear his voice from one side of MSAC to the other,
Yeah,
but that a man can only do so much of that. Oh,
yeah.
come on.
Kim, you teaching any class?
I only fill in classes. I don't do it as a regular. Do you have any advice for Anton or for anyone listening about coaching and teaching classes?
Look, as I said, like it's I think that when you're teaching, you need to know what you're teaching, first of all, because you can't just make it up. I do say, like, to my, like, in my academy, in my club, I always say to even the lowest students, the white belts, but the blue belts, I even tell them, don't even show them anything, because it's always, man, it's so, what do you call, is a Chinese whisperer?
Yeah.
I'll show you a move, I'll
Yeah.
tell you every detail, you're gonna miss one or two, and then you're gonna show that move with a missed one or two detail to someone who's gonna learn with a missed detail one, and that will pass on. So I rather be like, they're now gonna have to fix that, makes my job twice harder. So I rather like be like, no, let's get it right from the start. So if you get everyone's basic right, you get that right, then everything else is, it's easier and flows with it.
Yeah.
That's great advice, man. Thank you. I appreciate that.
But yeah, for competition, like if I, like I'm training guys for competition, I got like there's two things that I like. Like one is on my gym wall. It says victory is always possible for the person who refuses to stop fighting. It's a phrase from Napoleon Hill. It says it all. And other things that I say is if they're competing, it's what you do outside business hours that count. That you make the difference, because what you do during business hours, everyone is doing it, which is your business hours is when you are training. Everyone is doing it. Everyone is open the same time of business. But what you do outside business hours it's gonna make the difference. Yeah.
Wow.
For your business, for training, for everything.
I love that. I love that, man. I totally subscribe to what you're saying. I think everything we do in life, like every choice we make, is either contributing to us or taking away. And it's one or the other. There's no in the middle. You're either contributing to or taking away with
Yeah, like I mean, your opponent is going to class, regardless. They are going to class. They training at the same, but are they going for a 5K run after class, or are they gonna, they're gonna go and do weights, or that's gonna make a difference there. If you're not doing it, then that's gonna make the difference.
And
So what you're doing outside business hours. But for your business as well, you close your business, you're still working, right? Like I'm not at the club, I'm still doing stuff for the club.
I agree. I even extended to make sure your finances are in order. Make sure all of your relationships are in order. Because if those things aren't in order, you're thinking about those things while you're meant to be doing something else, So it's like, you got to get everything working.
Yeah.
That's it. And Minol, we're nearly out of time. We will have this episode out in a couple of weeks. If you could share it with your social media platform, that would be awesome, because I know you've got a lot of students that would probably love to hear this. And any final words, any parting thoughts for our listeners?
Yeah, look, that's pretty much it. I heard you, Kim, say that about training with guys as well, and that's one thing that I encourage my students, the guys especially, because especially white belts, they all like rough for some reason. When they roll, I don't know if you switches off when they roll with the gear, they forget. But I think if like everyone, if you can roll, like you can flow a lot more better with the guild than when you're a beginner, you learn a lot more. I don't know if you agree.
Yeah, definitely. It's very hard, I think, for them to switch off their ego as well in that time and not allow their strength to take.
Some of them, I say in my club, some of them like making a guild tap and like, oh, no, like I go, man, why? Like, well done, you made a guild tap. Like,
it's hard. It is hard.
It's tough. People get weird around the opposite sex anyway. I think that's the thing. People just get weird. Yeah. And then this compounds it. It's a weird space. But you're right. Flow rolling, not trying to make people who are smaller than you or the opposite gender tap. Makes sense, man. Yeah, I appreciate that.
Yeah. Now you're teaching, you'll be doing all that as well.
Absolutely. We've got an Yeah, absolutely. We've got less than a minute, so I won't talk.
All right. Well, thank you so much again, Minol. And we look forward to seeing you and your lovely family on the mats and at the competitions over the next few months. And also, you've got a seminar coming up in Cairns in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, in Cairns, I got a student
onto this.
Yeah, I got a student that moved to Cairns, open up a club there. Like, so I've got an affiliated club there. Yeah, I'll be in Cairns. 25th
Put the
of March.
link here on this episode, so maybe if tickets still available, people can come along and learn from Minol.
Yeah, there'll be all the info there if you see the picture.
Thanks, Minol. You rock, man.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me.
Peace out.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.